Hello, and welcome to a surprise Wargame Red Dragon cast. I'm planning to do a few of these just to break things up a little bit. And this replay today is from the Elite Tournament from the Wargame Bootcamp. They're running a tournament where they're having players of 4 different skill sets and different brackets all fighting over double elimination style. But here today, on the left hand side in blue, we have Blitz War, playing a German-Dutch mechanized deck, and on the right hand side it's a bunch of dots, but he just put a lot of spaces in his name. As you can see, his user tag is all the way over here, and you hover over unit. It's Adler 3000 playing a Finnish Polish motorized deck, so pretty heavy infantry from both sides, and it's a pretty good map for it, as there's a lot of nice cover. Not looking so good to begin with for Adler 3000, as he's just got completely ambushed trying to get into position here. You've got the lovely recon tanks, Leopard, as well as the MX-13s, that's completely hammering down the Jakaris, Sissies, and all the other Finnish infantry. So definitely a very good starter for Blitz Raw. As we're seeing here, Adler setting a little bit more of a larger force to the centre of Foxtrot here. Quite a few ATGMs and some recon tanks, and down south, both sides setting a rather defensive posture, just holding on to the respective little town areas. It's all coming down over the canal. And the problem here so far for Adler is he doesn't really have much in terms of, anti-armor. He does have a few anti-tank guided missile teams, but he has no tanks or other real heavy vehicles of his own. Of course, the XAs do have a pretty nice Bushmaster cannon, but in this sort of burst fight, it ain't gonna match out against an AMX-13, and he's been pretty busy. He's almost completely out of ammunition there. Not gonna matter anymore, especially when you die, but same thing with the ATGM unit. He's pretty low in ammo as well. Up north in the forest, things are getting a little bit dicey here, as we got I can't even say the name, it's Polish, trying to engage these 50 cal armoured cars. We do have some of the Dutch Stosstroopers and Grenadiers being brought into his northern side to try and push on through. Probably be a good idea for Adler to get some reinforcements up north. And all the way up north here we do have a little bit of a defensive posture, with just some manpad unit as well as some infantry, just to stop any, sneaky helicopter pushes along the far flank. And what the hell? How did this guy get over here? I wasn't even paying attention. I guess he took the far northern road, because he's eastbound and, well, westbound and down, I should say. I want to see him kill the command unit. I doubt it. But even just getting an infantry unit into the enemy forest for just spotting purposes would not be a terrible idea, but we'll see how that pans out. We do have ourselves an Apache escort down south here, giving some pretty decent fire support. And that's the Apache escort is a pretty good unit in this matchup, as there's not really a lot of heavy armor to worry about, so just being able to pick off those nasty infantry units, and there's a lot of nasty infantry units full of Finns and Poles, would definitely help out. And they're pretty cheap too, I believe only 65 points, which is an absolute bargain, unless they get shot down by a Scrum. I know he can tank a hit. He's an Apache after all. He's going to be able to get back to safety of the FOB just in time to see this XA flanking about, and he's not going to be flanking much longer, but the Jakaris do manage to bail. But Blitz, he smells blood in the water, and he got to finish off the job. It was Apache still, it's low in HP, but I don't think small arms would really do that much damage. Especially if the Jakaris being all panicked. Up north in the Bravo forest here, the gotta love Dutch and Grenadiers actually clearing through his forest here. Not really much Polish resistance anymore, and the infantry from the northern side are actually deciding to make a bit of a hike down the mountain. And yeah, capturing Bravo would be very good for Blitz. If he can get some infantry in here, especially some ATGM infantry, he can pretty much shut down this entire sector of the map, and that's a pretty huge sector. Do have some immediate reinforcements being brought in. Just one Mi-17. I'm actually surprised we're not seeing more infantry up north, because you really do not want to lose the entirety of Bravo. Because like I said, if you hold this area, you can just pretty much negate any reinforcements coming into the northern end of Foxtrot. You are seeing Zakari's making the push. Got some Dutch reserves. Not the best equipped infantry. So Zakari should make pretty short work of him. Maybe on the defensive position, to be fair. Yeah, so far Blitz is doing a very good job. His opener is fantastic with catching a lot of the infantry out in the open. He's really putting on the pressure up north in Bravo. And a little bit in Foxtrot here, moving some more Stu Trooping. And even down in Gulf, Jesus Christ, he is... Oh, that's his area of map. But even then, getting some extra reinforcements down there is definitely a good idea. And speaking of the southern side, it'd also probably be, for Adler's sake, not a terrible idea to maybe try and do a bit more maneuvers in Gulf. I mean, he is moving some of the Spados along the far southern flank here. Seeing just how things are developing up north and in the centre, probably be a good idea to try and relieve some of that pressure and, you know, do a hard hit into Gulf. I mean, there's only, you know, a few stock trooping in there. Nothing all that scary. And oh boy, it's the one thing I do kind of miss about Wargame, just the hilarity of the far map flanks. I mean, you got Spados passing East chaps here. Both sides just try to get to the other side spawn. I don't think Blitz is really going to make it, because he's going to get spotted by a Scot once he comes around the bend here of the little reservoir. The Commandosi are starting to engage the Assault Trooping and the Grenadiers. The Commandosis, as we all know, very scary infantry units, especially in a close range fight. If they can, you know, pick off one of the Grenadier squads, knock down their firepower. There we go. We do have, I do like his push along the northern tip here. Once again, really failing due to lack of armor. AMX-13 completely pounding any infantry reinforcements. And those AMXs are such lovely recon tanks. I mean, they've got recon optics first off, and because it's an AMX-13 and reared French revolving turret, it can just pound down shots left, right, and center. Like, especially in a matchup like this, where there's, you know, there's no enemy T-72s or T-80s. It's just, you know, lightly armored vehicles and some T-55s. AMX really rules supreme. Got Leopards in a very sneaky spot here as well. Once again, recon units having the ability to be able to shoot without being spotted. I mean, it is a really big play here for Blitz. And the ATGM infantry can't really... Well, they don't have any ammunition first off, which is a little bit of an issue, but they also can't get any eyes on the enemy armor. And it's really down to... I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name to blow up the enemy tanks. Commandosis are holding strong. I mean, you don't need a lot of them, but they can do work. We've got Spados getting into a pretty nice position in Gulf. And it's going to be seeming... It's going to see... Seeming like, if I can actually say or speak English, which as we all know, I can't. Trying to encircle these stock troop in here, and if you can capture the Gulf area right here, get some extra reinforcements in there, set up some defenses, be a very good position to hold. But we are seeing reinforcements being immediately brought in from Blitz. Moving in that Apache escort to try and secure the southern side. This will definitely help out, so knock out an infantry unit or two. But once again, it comes down to the armor. And just two AMX-13s are completely pounding any Finnish or Polish infantry that dare, you know, make themselves spotted in the forest. Actually, he's going to fly right over these Spados. Don't know if the small arms fire would be enough to really kill the Apache. They are in a building, so it does help out a bit. There we go, get a very effective stunt hit, yeah, and it's probably a very good idea for the Apache to maybe get out of their area. They can order critical hits. But once again exposing themselves to AMX-13 fire, but finally some Commandosis got into a position to get some very vital rocket shots. Also rocket shots from the Mi-17 to knock out that armor. And that's exactly what Adler needs to be focused on, knocking out those scary recon tanks. And he pretty much has, I want to say go fully under control, but we got the Dutch reserve infantry being brought in. Is that Apache gonna die to a river in a small arms fire? It doesn't even look like he should be... Oh, there he goes, managed to gain stability and bugger off. Very lucky. Only 1 HP left. I was seeing how he was spinning, I was quite surprised he didn't hit the trees. Mi-17 coming in, seeing Apache buggering off. That's going to provide some very important close support fire. Maybe I want to see Spados down south try and knock out the Apache escort. I doubt it'll happen. It'd be a very good idea for Blitz to bring it back to the FOB for some good R&R. Yeah, things are very much developing all over the map. I mean, really so far, southern side, really to Adler. Middle's still pretty 50-50, and up north, I'd say it looks 50-50, but personally I do think Blitzschor does have the better position, because he has all the cover on his side, where Adler is pretty much slap bang in the open. But he's bringing in quite a decent amount of reinforcements, and certainly some actual, well, he did have T-55 recon tanks, but actual tanks from the tank tab. Just some charioteers, not the most, fancy tanks in the world, but when there's no other tanks in the area, a tank's a tank, and it works. In Ethiopia is still using tankettes in the 1980s. It's just got a bunch of just small skirmishes along the map. Of course, both of them playing a more infantry-focused deck. It's just more little armored recon armored vehicle APC pushes, I should really say. Start trooping out in the open. I mean, they are pretty nice and all, but not out in the open, especially with the amount of decent fire support that the Finns do have with their armored vehicles. Milan just cannot get any eyes on. The charioteers really just, cavalry charge into the enemy rocket launchers, which is not an ideal way to use your tanks, I assume. I usually like to keep them away from rocket launchers. The Star Trooping down south did actually manage to make the end run, it seems, and they have split off into 2 squads. Gonna be running into some Jakaris, which are in a very fortunate position there to try and catch any would-be, I want to say assassins, because they'll try to assassinate the CV. Even then, we're like, 14 minutes into this match so far, and it's pretty neck on neck. Blitzschor is in the lead, but just, only by 60 points or so. And both sides really just have their +2 point sectors, and all the middle sectors are still very even Stevens. Not for long it seems, because we aren't getting a command infantry into Gulf, and that's definitely going to force Blitz's hand to get some command of his own. If the infantry were to unload, that would be pretty useful. Blitz is starting to hit pretty hard again down south. And some more Leopard recons, just a lot of infantry and a decent amount of APCs to back up his push. And all we have is really just one Commandosi squad. The Spados are holding alright, but they're not in the best position. Now, if the armoured... Oh, never mind. Commandosis have extremely long-range rocket launchers. I forgot. Like, what? 80? Or 80... Yeah, bloody hell. 875 meters? That's pretty decent. Trooping have to force back here, and the other one getting engaged by the X-18s. Which is a very good idea, especially in Wargame. Always keep some units just in your back line. Just an infantry unit here and there, because stop any sneaky pushes like that happening. Never know when some sneaky stormtrooper want to say hello to your command vehicles. Blitz is getting into a very good position to try and force back a bit of pressure onto Gove along its northern edge here, just across the water. He should be able to just... I mean, he doesn't have the best line of sight onto the road, but it's still something. Oh, it's an Apache escort going to go down to small arms fire again. These Apaches are not having a very good time. And a little bit too close to the sun, or the machine guns in this case. Yeah, he's not going to be making it out, I think. It must really suck being a helicopter pilot in a situation like that. Not because you're being shot at, but you're just spinning around constantly. You must have a terrible, terrible dizziness. And at the same time, you're trying to fly an armored death machine and not crash into the ground. It must be a little bit challenging. Also, probably a bit challenging here for Blitz Roars. His rather meager forces, I want to say surrounded, but it's not too much of a surround. It is mainly just, you know, support infantry here. I mean, once the SOT troop can go down, that's really the bulk of the fighting force. That'd be a great area to capture for Adler 3000. It's always, you know, such a pain in the ass to retake this area once you lose it. If he can get some more infantry and put some pressure onto the forest, he could maybe put another CV. There we go, the CV down south did finally unload, and now Adler's getting that nice and slow +1 tick, which is all he needs. And once again, Apache escort flying a little bit too close there, buddy. It was Velmetsu like saying hello. I think he is going to just get out because he spun his ray out of danger. Once again, that does not look fun to be in that helicopter. Unless you're, you know, if you like amusement rides. Okay, jump in there, Apache. Just gonna spin around in circles. These infantry pushes just along the center here, it's just not working out. You know, having grenadiers out in the open does usually mean it gets shot at, but finally Leopards being brought in to provide some rather vital fire support. And I think with the armored support, it might be enough to force back the infantry. Yeah, I feel like he needs one or two more squads. Because the grenadiers they're alright. They're not the best troops. It's a small infantry skirmishes. We got Stottentroopen, not Stottroopen, sorties in the air. And Ranikos just skirmishing back and forth. Oh, finally some Panzer Grenadier 90s. That's some artillery? Yeah, we got some mortar. I don't want to say half tracks, but yeah, I think no, just mortar armored cars, PCs. I forget all the terminology. I've been playing Castle Steel Division too long. Providing some pretty vital fire support here, and it seems like his forest is gonna go under Blitz's control. And that's a pretty big forest to hold on to, because you can provide fire support to the northern side, or you can just use mortars to do the same effect. But if you set up a good ATGM and tank net here, you can pretty much stop reinforcements coming into this entire area. What's more important, however, is that Adler did get a second CV down onto Foxtrot. And this is really going to need a force Blitz to buy some CVs of his own. He does have run being brought into Foxtrot to try and neutralize the point. But he's going to need another run, and that's what he's doing to retake Gove. That will bring the pendulum into Adler's favour. Once again, it's not going to be a huge point lead once the second CV gets put down, but all you need is a point lead to win. But more than enough to not be a draw. It's starting to look a little bit dicey up north here for Adler. The Grenadiers, Panzer Grenadiers and Snot troops are coming in. The APCs aren't really providing too much fire support. We do have some guys with Bushmasters. Probably be a little bit more better if they were using their Bushmasters to make these bushy guys disappear. We could just use mortars. I forgot mortars pretty much solve most issues. I mean, can you guys think of many issues that you can't solve with a mortar? I know airplanes and helicopters is one of them, but I mean, if you aim it just right, you might be able to hit it in mid-flight. It'd be a pretty impressive feat. Foxtrot now fully under Blitz's control, manages to kill the enemy command vehicle. That's pretty huge, and he has got a little bit of a foothold onto the hill. Be bringing it back to a 0-0. Adler is playing the arms roar here. The arms roar CVs, that is. And getting a CV onto Bravo to try and neutralize, or not neutralize, but capture the point. It's once again going to force Blitz's hand to spend more points on getting a command vehicle to try and neutralize the northern side. It is more of a risky proposition for Adler here because he doesn't really have many places to hide. I mean, the place that he does have to hide is one strip, and it's pretty obvious what's in this strip. Now, if you're going to be playing, battleships in terms of trying to snipe enemy CVs, be the place you'd shoot. Blitz is pushing with the APCs, but it's really not going to be enough. He's going to run into those Reniques, and he's going to get kaboomed. As long as he keeps his CV hidden, that's all that really matters. Yeah, things are pretty even Steven still. I think if Blitz can really take advantage of the central position here and try to push right on through, capture this hillside entirely, get some tanks and ATGMs up here, it really allows you to put pressure up north, down, south, and heck, maybe even push on Draco. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But he's starting to build up a pretty huge chunk of forces here, bringing in lots of infantry reinforcements, while Adler, he does have a decent amount of defensive positions, but it's not looking that good in terms of a numbers game. I think the mortars are starting to wreak a bit of havoc, as they are trying to snipe the enemy command infantry. I guess your body is a vehicle for movement, if we want to be technical. A bioorganic vehicle. Mortars landing a little bit long. Oh my god! An airplane! They actually have this in this game. They have airplanes, I believe. Hasn't really been much anti-air either from either side, because there hasn't really been any airplanes to really worry about. And Apache escorts just keep running into small arms fire. We've got the Grenadiers and Panzer Grenadier hooking their way along the southern forest here. It's a pretty smart move. There's not going to be many vehicles down here to really worry about. And if they are, you just blow them up with your Laws, or Panzerfaust 3s, which are a little bit better, I imagine. Yeah, Blitz it really seems like he's trying to encroach his forces onto Goth along the north and southern flanks here. I think he's kind of ran out of a lot of his recon tanks. Definitely a little bit of armor would help out, but we've got Hawk and another bomb and run. And if that hits dead on, which it does, the Panzer Grenadiers will be dead, which it does. We've got Spado as well, they're trying to get the flank. mean, the command infantry are kind of out in the open. I mean, they are hidden, of course. The Spados maybe... I know there's a Postmaster nearby, and an AMX-13. When he shoots, he's immediately just going to get pinned down by the tanks and armoured cars. But the Grenadier push is making quite a bit of headway, getting all the way to pretty much the end of the forest sector. And their prize will be shooting down that Super Puma. And just look at it being all super and all. I think it's better than everybody else. It's a cool paint job. It is a pretty sick paint job, let's be real here. And down it goes. But the MA-17 in a perfect position to provide some much needed fire support. And force these Panzer Grenadiers to run for the hills and the trees. Mainly the trees. And we've got fantastic push here from Blitz, as we see his whole like northern forest sector, you know, north of Foxtrot. I'm trying to geographically name it, even though I'm looking at it here. Managing to get into his forest sector, and that's pretty huge. He's putting a command on the APC. Maybe he's going to try and bomb it. We can sneak on up and try and kill the command staff. We're seeing a very desperate play here, trying to get some command infantry, but very barely just miss getting shot at by the APCs. It's still going to be pretty risky, because he knows that the armoured, you know, we should know that the command infantry are coming into Foxtrot. And there's not really many places for him to hide. It's a pretty obvious spot. You just stick him in his forest. He doesn't really have much to defend the forest. Just a few infantry units here. And yeah. The Grenadier purses pretty much fizzled out a bit. The Formosa's not suffering all that well under all that machine gun fire. The Grenadiers can't really do too much. I mean, if they push out the forest again, the Mi-17 is going to greet them with some rather friendly rocket fire, depending on what end you're talking about. We're finally getting a command car from Blitz into Bravo. Walk dropping in some more bombs. Almost killing those Grenadiers completely, so not a terrible bombing run. Yeah, just looking at it from an attritional standpoint, Blitz has much more important stuff on the field compared to Adler. Like, seems like he's starting to run low on infantry units and other basic units. We've finally got some more Leopard recons coming in down south. And pretty much be able to lead the charge. I mean, there's no anti-tank here at all. I think it's be a pretty safe bet to take us to ×2. I think it's pretty obvious who's going to win, but at the same time, I mean, you know, Adler does have the point advantage. With 11 minutes left to go, I mean, from command, you just not get some. He already has command vehicles in the middle points, but you just knock out the enemy command vehicles by pushing on through. Hawks are doing decent bombing runs, but it's not enough to stop this huge infantry pushes from all angles now. I do like a sneaky M1 on a free play, but it's not going to work out well for the M1 on free. There we go, Foxtrot being encroached on. Probably a good idea to evacuate the sector now for the command infantry. The Hawk is there to give some rather danger close fire support. Well, not too danger close. There goes, command infantry are going to go down. Spado's managed to sneak on through and kill the APC, but they couldn't actually kill the command infantry for obvious reasons, and that's gonna be a good game and very close on the kill zone. Only a 400 point difference between both sides, and pretty neck on neck for the most part, but it definitely felt like it came down to attrition at the end, as Blitz just had more grenadiers and Strutentroopens and other German Dutch units to outmatch the Polish-Finnish units. But it's cool seeing that infantry dynamic play. I mean, of course, as fun it is to see like Battery 5s and Abrams go out against T-90s and T-80s and other T-tanks in certain number here. Just seeing some good old-fashioned small arms light skirmish play is always fun, and that map is a very good map for such encounters. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. I understand my Wargame casting is a little bit rusty. I do apologize. I'm still getting a little bit back into the sway of things and refiguring out how this game works, of course. But so yeah, I plan to do a few more of these, along the weeks to, just change things up a bit and provide just a little bit of different content. And I'm going to shut up and leave it at that. So this has been another Angry cast. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.